episode of Jay Leno's Garage. Always fun to have automotive royalty here, and this is right up there, 1985 Ferrari GTO. This is one of those legendary cars. Although legendary, got a bit overshadowed by the F40, but they're just fantastic cars. This belongs to our friend David Lee, and this car has won a number of Concours events, but he drives it all the time. I see him around town in it. So I said, hey, we haven't done one of those. Why don't you bring on over? David, come on in. Good to see you again, my friend.
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah, this is a great car.
Yeah, it's really, really great. It's one of my favorite cars. You know, it was a car in high school that I dreamed about. You know, I opened up Road and Track. Unfortunately, there's no more that kind of magazines anymore. Right. But we opened it, and I dreamed about it. I said, wow, what a beautiful car.
I mean, it's hard to believe it's 34 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
And this was obviously the GTO name legendary in Ferrari. The 250 GTO, still to this day, I think the most expensive car ever sold at auction.
Sure.
And when these came out, it looked so much like the 308. I was thinking, was that a 3? Oh, it's a 308 with a couple of performance options. But not true. Totally different car.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, they borrow a lot of you know, things from the 308, thinking it would be just better and more efficient. But then when they end up making the car, they did a lot of things. I mean, they had to widen the fenders. They did, you know, different materials like space age material at the time to make it lighter. They boosted up the engine to, you know, with turbos and 400 horsepower. So they ended up with a whole new car.
So it's a V8 with 2.8 liters or 2.88?
Yeah, right. That's why it's 288 GTO, yeah.
And what is the horsepower on this car?
So they boosted up to 400 horsepower.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a lot for that time.
That was a lot. For 1985, that was incredible because and the most powerful American car you could get, I think at the time, was the Corvette with 350 horsepower.
Okay.
And 400 was one of those numbers. I mean, I've told the story a number of times on the show, but when I bought my Viper, the guy said, this guy got 400 horsepower. You'll never see that again with emissions and all that. Yeah. And that's what we thought was happening. We thought emissions would just strangle everything. But once again, if you're like me, you believe engineers will change the world. And now you have cars with 900 horsepower.
Yeah, exactly.
But still, this is pretty quick, and it's pretty light, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 2,500 pounds.
Really?
The 308 was 800 pounds more, so they were able to bring it down on the weight, so it cooks. I mean, 0 to 60 at that time, 5 seconds. You remember the 5-second was like, wow, that was fast.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, the fastest car you could get was the Hemi Belvedere Satellite in '66, and that was 0 to 60 in 6.3. And I remember looking at, that can't be right. That seems way too fast. Now you get your doors blown off by GTIs.
Right.
But it's all about how it makes you feel. I mean, I love the non-airbag steering wheel.
Right.
I love the proper gear shift lever that's gated. It's not an automatic. It's not a paddle shift. Yeah. It's the last of that sort of era of analog cars, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a beautiful car. And yet, I guess the F40 is being developed while this was out. This is only made, what, 4 years? 5 years?
Yeah. There was it was made in '84 to '87. So
okay, that's it. So just 3.5, 4 years. Okay. So, and how many did they build? Do you know?
272.
They only built 270. And why that number?
Well, at first when they built this car, they wanted to build it for the Group B racing situation, and they had to make 200 cars homologated to do that.
Right.
And then when they canceled the Group B because it was too dangerous, they left to say, well, maybe we'll just make it into road cars now. So they ended up 272.
And what did this car cost brand new in '84, '85?
It was like $100 grand. Remember $100 grand? That was like, wow, $100 grand.
Well, I remember watching 60 Minutes when they did a thing on the Lamborghini Countach. And Morley Safer said, now, if you think this is an ad for Lamborghini, not really, because they're all sold out, and this car sells for $100,000. And they go, oh, well, let's say, now you're, okay.
Well, you know, the funny thing is those singers would used to sing about the cars, about $100,000 cars and everything like that, like that's a big deal. Now you listen to that song, you'd be like, no, that's it.
Exactly. And you know, it still looks contemporary. It still looks modern. I mean, Countachs look like the 80s. I mean, whereas this could be any era. If you aren't a Ferrari aficionado, you'd think this was a new car, a fairly new car.
Yeah.
You know what surprises me is this emblem, just how big it is, because I remember in the old days, if you didn't know it was Ferrari, well, that's your fault. You know, it might have said it on, there'd be some badging, a little more. But here, it's right here, like, okay, this is a Ferrari. You know?
Right.
So they want you to know that.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
and was it a popular car when you know, it's so funny because when it came out, I don't know whether it got overshadowed by other cars, but I just wasn't aware of it in period. I mean, I just thought it was a 308 with a few more horsepower, you know, totted up a bit. I didn't realize it was a totally different car.
I think because it wasn't such a different car. It kind of looked like 308. People didn't understand. They kind of passed it off. I mean, people that really, I mean, I knew, and I thought I knew it was a special car, but it really were enthusiasts. But then when the F40 came out, it was a totally different looking car. So it just
obviously 4-wheel disc brakes. Now it is what, a 5-speed?
Yes, 5-speed.
Okay. Obviously Ferrari's own transmission and nicely designed. You know, by this period, they were able to come up with impact bumpers that didn't look added on. Is this an American spec car?
This is American.
Or was it a world spec car?
It was a world spec car. I was able to, I don't think there was any American spec cars.
Right.
People brought it over. They had to put the smog stuff on there. Luckily, I was able to get it after 25 years where I didn't need to have
so you
that.
couldn't have bought this in 1985 in America?
No, you couldn't.
Well, yeah, that's probably why I was not aware of it. I just didn't pay attention to anything we couldn't get here. I just thought, you know. Okay,
Exactly.
Very cool.
Exactly.
Can we open up the engine compartment here?
Okay. So, Jay, we're going to do this. Unbuckle that right there.
Right.
Get your help on that.
So funny that it opens this way.
Yeah,
I was just expecting to open the other way. Okay, well,
and then there's a little, bar there that kind of put it in that hole right down there.
There we go, the legendary stick.
Yeah.
There you go. Wow, that's impressive. Basically the same block as the 308, is it? Okay,
yes.
all right.
These two turbos, like, gives it the power and the coolers. Yep. It's quick though. When it kicks in, you got that turbo lag and boom. Boost.
You know, I like that 1, 2, boom. You know,
Right.
And step 1, 2, boom, and it goes, you know. And you sort of learn to go into a corner and how to do that. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I mean, it still looks classic Ferrari. I mean, the engine compartments are really starting to get complicated in the 80s, but it's still fun that you can identify everything. You know, modern cars, you open the hood, there's a big sheet of plastic here, and you can't see anything. So. Boy, it's got to be tricky to work on. I mean, your engine is way down in there.
I know. I think that's why it was so expensive to maintain these cars back then, because they had to take the whole engine out in order to do it. To do like a tune-up and stuff.
Do you take out the seats and go in through the back there? Is it?
Yeah, you do.
It's like going to proctologist for dental work, you know?
Right.
You got to come up through the back. It's a little, wow.
Yeah.
Boy, that really, I mean, you can't reach anything here.
They used the intercoolers to take into the space where they would have had a kind of a trunk space, so that they were able to do all this, fit all this.
So there is no trunk space in this.
Well, there's in the front, I guess you can have a little area there.
Like a toothbrush or
something. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, pretty impressive.
But this car is right between the 250 GTO and the F40. I mean, it really has good provenance, you know.
It's a rare car. I mean, that's a really low production number for Ferrari, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they make 200 or 272 of anything. Everything now is at least 1,000.
Yeah,
isn't it? Just
exactly.
about.
Super rare.
Yeah.
It was the hardest one to get out of the big 5 that I have. It was the hardest one to find. I had to find this in Italy, you know, from a doctor that owned it for a long time. He drove it around, and because it went up so much in value, the guy wanted to sell it. And when the car was getting loaded, he was crying, like he really missed the car. Yeah.
It's funny because this was not crazy desirable. I mean, desirable as every Ferrari is, but when the F40 came out, oh my God, the anticipation and just people going crazy, the greatest car ever, you know, all this kind of thing. It just sort of overshadowed this, and that was probably the time to buy one of these, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was.
Pretty reasonable.
I'd like to get your take on it because you did drive my F40 for a show before.
You know, I love that F40. That was my favorite Ferrari because it was the closest thing in the feel to the vintage Ferraris from the 60s. You know, proper gearbox. You had to sort of manhandle it a little bit, a lot of clutch pressure. I mean, you felt like you were driving a car. It was very visceral, you know. So it was exciting when those twin turbos would kick in. And that was really something.
Yeah. So I would love to hear how you feel the difference between.
Well, I will. We will find out in a minute here. Let me put this down.
Okay.
And these, like you say, have gone crazy, aren't they?
Yeah. They're like 3.5 million. I mean, mine is a very low mile one. It's still mileage sensitive, and so yeah, 3.5.
Mileage sensitive. How many miles in this one?
10,000 kilometers.
Oh, okay.
So that's very low for, 1985.
It is, it is. And it's weird that you have something and you don't want to use it because of value.
Yeah.
But I don't know, but to me they're eminently rebuildable. I mean, the car will always be a multi-million-dollar car, so it seems like you could always fix whatever wears out. I mean,
well, I have the same philosophy for me. I don't care. I just drive them.
Exactly. And of course, the classic Ferrari interior. I love those seats with the holes.
Yeah, these are Daytonas.
In the pattern, and of course the gated shifter. Obviously, is not as fast as paddle shifts, but boy, it's just nice to go through the.
Yeah, so much more fun.
And those legendary letters GTO, which of course Pontiac appropriated back in the 60s. Remember they had the Pontiac GTO versus the Ferrari GTO in a race, you know.
Like that?
Yeah, like you're gonna, which one do I want to get, the Pontiac or the, oh gosh, I don't know, I'm so confusing. Okay, very nice, beautiful day, very simple. Let's open up the front, I want to take a look at that. Well, you got a little bit of trunk room in there.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, I got a little gift for you.
What is that?
I know you're into wearing socks and stuff.
Well, no, most humans wear socks. Yeah.
But because I like the breeze on my ankle, but this is a good compromise. It's like socks, you can wear it, but yet you don't see it on your ankles. It looks like it's.
So it looks like you have no socks.
Yeah, exactly. But
see, the village my people came from, the people had socks and shoes. Apparently, your people did not. So you're used to.
Exactly.
Okay. So I see. So these are like half socks.
These are like they all.
I don't get in the ladies' hosiery department very often, so I don't really get a chance to see these things.
Oh,
Well, that's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Yeah.
You should try it out. You might enjoy the breeze.
Yeah. I wear these and I'll get beat up at the next car show I go to. Well, thank you. And let me put it back in its protective cover here. Really, who has a foot shaped like that? Well, thank you, David. This is lovely. Well, thank you.
Sure. Give that a try.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a try. This way people think I'm not wearing socks when I am. And as you know, looking good is important to me. I always try to dress as good as I can. So, oh my God, Mr. Leno is a fancy dresser. Yeah. See, I have my standard black.
Oh, okay, right.
See, I'm not wearing socks. I just have gangrene.
Okay.
Yes, I don't have any socks on now. All right, well, let me just, I'm going to put these right back in here for now. Well, good. Let's get back to the matter at hand here.
Sure.
Let's close this down so we get the full. And these are obviously air extractors for the brakes or whatnot.
Yes.
And of course the pop-up headlights, classic.
Yeah.
In the 80s, that was so cool, wasn't it? Oh, look at the headlights pop up,
Exactly. Really.
No, it's just a fantastic looking car. But the whole thing to a Ferrari is obviously driving it. Can we take this for a spin?
Yeah.
Let's take it for a spin.
Okay. The room's okay, huh? You getting this okay?
Oh, yeah. Plenty of room. Oh, you got a button.
Yeah.
Stiff clutch, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a very civilized car. Like you can drive this almost like every day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't feel like got cushioned seats, like nice seats.
Yeah, very nice. And it feels small. Even modern small cars feel big.
Yeah, right.
Like a Mini is not anything like a Mini now. It's an enormous thing.
Yeah.
Well, while we're waiting to warm up, let's go to the dashboard. You got the classic Homo steering wheel, which is really kind of cool.
Right.
There's your speedometer right here. Goes up to, how many miles an hour is that?
4 kilometers right now.
On this side, water temperature, oil temperature.
Yeah.
And of course your gasoline gauge.
Yeah.
And of course you're pointing out the old fashioned radio where you can take the faceplate with you.
Yeah.
Oh, that was like a big deal.
I know.
Keep people from stealing your...
Oh, when you park into the mall, you pull it out, and everybody has a little, like a little package there.
Oh, you feel the turbos kick in.
Right.
mirror adjustments are where?
No, you gotta do manual. You gotta.
Oh, they're manual?
They're like you gotta push them to.
Oh, okay, let me...
Just gotta push it to. You push the inside.
Oh,
To move the position.
Very high tech. Let's see.
It's not like perfect. You're too tall for the.
Oh, I can see a
For the
little
car.
bit. Okay, this one gets so
How about this one?
Yeah, okay. Brakes are quite good, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
And this has all the amenities, doesn't it? Air conditioning.
Oh yeah.
And radio, all stuff. The F40. Well, the F40 had air conditioning.
They had air conditioning. Didn't have radio.
So, what was your first Ferrari?
Well, my very first Ferrari was a 355 speed Spyder.
Right.
And then I had the 360 and I had 430. Then I didn't want to buy and sell car to lose money again, so I thought I'm going to buy my one that doesn't. And the first one was Enzo. That was actually my first one was Enzo. Yeah. And then I started to say, hey, why don't I collect the rest of the supercars?
Right.
Then got the F50, F40. Hardest one to get was the 288 GTO, which again,
This one here was the hardest to get.
this was the hardest to get because the older it is, it's harder to find.
Right.
And like you said, a lot of them were in Europe. They weren't in the U.S., so it was harder. And
So did you fly to Europe to look at this car first, or did you buy it based on the guy's word?
so I sent my guy, I sent Andy over. He
Yeah.
looked at it, thought everything was legit and good, and then he told me, and I said okay, and I bought it. But this was the one in the high school that I was dreaming about it. At that time, I would never think that I'd be able to own it. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, how about you, Jay? Like when you were young and you were looking through the magazine, you saw these great cars, and you never thought you would own it.
Oh no, God no! I was. In fact, when I was a kid, the guidance counselor called my mother into school and said to my mom, because I was a terrible student, I was dyslexic. You ever thought of taking Jay out of school? My mother goes, no, why? Well, you know, Mrs. Leno, education's not for everyone. My mother's like, what are you talking about? I'm going, hey, I'm in the room. Hey, I'm here. I'm in the room. Hello. You know, because I was working at McDonald's at the time, and my guidance counselor said, you know, McDonald's is a wonderful program. They send the kids to Hamburger U and they learn how to make change. And I go, I don't want to work at McDonald's. No, I never thought. That's why I worked at car dealerships.
Yeah.
I worked at a place called Wilmington Ford. With
Oh, I remember that.
And then I worked at a place called Foreign Motors, which was, again, what they called foreign motors.
Foreign motors.
You know, back in those days, most Europeans couldn't afford to have a standalone dealership. So we sold Mercedes-Benz, Bentley, Rolls-Royce, Citroën, Peugeot, just a whole bunch of them. You know, and that's the way you did it back in the day.
Right. And then when you start first getting like the nice cars, like the cars of your dream, then what do you think?
Well, I bought that first new car I bought was an '83 Mercedes 300 turbo diesel, because that's the only car Mercedes could sell in America that year.
Oh, okay.
Because of the emissions and all the other stuff. And then I bought an '89 Bentley Turbo R, the very first Turbo R in the United States, which at that time was the fastest four-door car you could buy in America.
Exactly.
Shows you how far we've come.
Yeah. But it's just a wonderful feeling to achieve something that you had a childhood dream about.
And the amazing thing, I've driven 308s.
Yeah.
And this is 800 pounds lighter than 308 with really twice the horsepower.
Yeah.
Because back then the 308s were what, maybe 2.25 horse, something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas this is 400.
Yeah. The wheels are wider. They're Goodyear tires. Because when they made it, they flared it out, so of course you're gonna get more grip. Yeah, like you said, it's lighter. There's Kevlar, there's carbon fiber, there's fiberglass.
It's very smooth power delivery, isn't it? So it's not peak. It's not it's not making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
You know, Ferrari on the modern cars just started putting out the 488, like it's a twin turbo. So people are like, wow, excited that the Ferrari actually had turbo technology back here in
30 years ago.
Yeah, 30 years ago.
And that new V8 is, I think, the most powerful engine ever.
Yeah, it is. It is. So how does this feel compared to the F40 that you've driven?
Well, the F40 was a bit more raw than this, and that was what? No, 475
Yes,
horse.
that's right. That's right.
And that extra 75 horses made a difference.
Yeah, sure
That was
did.
a very impressive car. I mean, I just like a manual gearbox. It's just so nice. You can sort of downshift and then feel those turbos kick in.
Yeah.
Plus, you've got an 8,000 RPM redliner. It's pretty amazing.
I was driving it every day for a while, and then the prices start creeping up like crazy. And I get a little nervous. Like I said, okay, I'll drive it not as often, but I mean these things are going up to $3 million now.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's weird to think that a base Corvette now has more horsepower than the fastest Ferrari you could buy in 1980. I mean, that shows you how fast.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's not loud, it's just pleasant.
Yeah.
This car must have been very expensive to run in Italy.
Yeah.
Because in Italy, anything over, what, 2.7 liter is like crazy. Crazy money.
Yeah, people wouldn't drive them to a certain miles because they would have to. They're afraid they would have to pay for take out the engine maintenance.
Right.
Because that was really expensive, so they always would keep them low miles for that.
But that doesn't really work either because it's time sensitive.
Yeah.
Timing belt, timing.
Right, that's true.
Run it.
That's true.
So till the F40 came out, this was the fastest Ferrari, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it went about 189 miles per hour. So this guy came out and it was the first supercar, 189 miles per hour, and then the Porsche comes out with the 959.
Right.
And then you know that has all kinds of crazy technology on it, and it was fast too. And then Enzo had to come out with the F40 to be the first to go 200 miles per hour. And it was just a track car on the road. So there was a little bit of a rivalry between Ferrari and Porsche in those days as a supercar.
It's funny thing, it wasn't until literally the 90s a car could break, a street car would break 200 miles per hour.
Right.
They used to pretend that the Countach could.
Yeah, it was really still 180. And then your car came, the McLaren F1 came 230, I think, right?
241.
241, yeah.
Normally aspirated.
Normally,
And I believe it's still the fastest normally aspirated car in the world. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll tell me in the comments, no, you jerk. You know, I'm sure I'll hear that from somebody.
Yeah, right.
But as far as I know, it's the fastest.
Yeah. But they said it's like a gentleman's Ferrari. Like, you know, you can wear a suit and get in this thing. It's not like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So it's got the power if you need it.
Steering is very direct, right? There's no assist to it, right?
Yeah. And you got some nice clearance on the top. I don't see your head hitting
I got all kinds of room.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people got in trouble with the turbo. They didn't expect it. They don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
It crashed. But this is very rare among all the, you know, you see F40s around, the others, and so you don't really see these ones.
Have you done an engine out service on this yet?
No.
When you brought it over, you must have done it.
Yeah.
What does the service run on?
It's expensive. It's like $8,000, $10,000 easily.
Yeah.
For like some basic stuff.
But you know, it's amazing how any older supercar can't hold a candle to modern stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's just amazing to me when I get in some of the modern cars, like the new Ferraris, like the new McLaren. It's like jet planes and propeller planes.
Yeah,
it's not even close. I mean, who would have thought 1,000 horsepower you could get on the street?
Yeah.
When the Bugatti Veyron came out with 1,000, people thought, well, that's crazy. It's not even possible. But now even the ZR1 Corvette, 755 horsepower. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, Ferrari's coming out with 1,000 horsepower mid-engine.
That's what I hear. Yeah. Well, David, thank you very much. It's the experience of a lifetime. You bring all the rare Ferraris. These are cars we can never get to drive, and you're always very kind to drink. And I love the fact that you use them all. I think that's fantastic. They don't sit locked away somewhere. And the fact that you use them means there's somebody that repairs them, means that somebody is working, and you know, and the knowledge keeps getting passed on, you know, which is fun. You know, I always talk about my Duesenbergs that I love to drive. I mean, other Duesenberg owners, and they don't drive them, so the guys that fix them got no work, so they move on to something else. And the knowledge gets lost. You know? The fact that you're out there using these things, and you see what a seminal car this is for Ferrari. It's one of those transitions. Probably, although the F40 was the last true analog car, this was probably one of the last. You know, it's got the proper gearbox, but it's got air and leather and all the accessories, electric windows, all that kind of stuff. It's really the most civilized one, isn't it? It's really very cool. David, thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. I always learn a lot when I drive with you.
Well, we learn a lot from you, and we can check you out on Instagram, right? What is it on Instagram?
It's Ferrari Collector _ David Lee.
There you go. Check it out.
All right. Thanks.
Eat a man. See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.